You are listening to the Slow Living Podcast, and I'm your host, Stephanie O'Day. What if I told you that you could truly have the life of your dreams, the life you've always wanted, one filled with abundance, joy, and a sense of purpose? It's absolutely possible, and I see it each and every day with my coaching clients. It all starts with learning how to slow down. You deserve to live the life you've always dreamt about. Let's get started. You are listening to the Slow Living Podcast, and I am your host, Stephanie O'Day. Welcome. We are on episode number 87. And today we're going to talk about two things, and they're sort of two things on the same coin. So what is it? Two sides of the same coin. And we're going to talk about feeling enough and being enough. And I'm recording this with a new podcast microphone. So I'm still figuring out the ins and the outs of it. And it's interesting because while I was plugging it in and playing around with the settings, I started thinking, okay, so today, Steph, we're going to talk about enoughness and control and worthiness and what that means when it comes to this podcast microphone. And it's fascinating because I'm recording this and I don't know if this is going to work. And so I'm a little out of control right now. And I don't like that feeling. I have no idea if this is working or not. And then because of that, the sort of script that plays in my head when I'm not feeling enough or I'm not feeling worthy is, even though I tried all of the things and I played around with the settings, since I'm a little out of control right now, I have the thought of it doesn't matter what I do, it's not going to be good enough. And this is kind of this story that I've had and I've had for as long as I can remember. And it's held me back in some ways. And it's really sort of helped me like lean into and push into why I'm such a fan of coaching and mindset work, and why the women that come to me, we work so well together because I relate to them so well. I'm insanely empathetic and I feel all of their feels, and I know what they're going through because I've been there, done that. And while I feel like I've made a lot of forward progress and momentum and have achieved amazing and wonderful things, and I'm living the life that I feel is my dream life, these thoughts and feelings of inadequacy and less than and not worthy enough continue to bubble up, which is great in some ways because that's the work and that's the non-stop work of just sort of doing what I need to continue to do. So I'm looking through my past podcast episodes. So if what I'm going to talk about today rings true to you in some way, and you haven't gone back and listened to all of the Slow Living podcasts, the ones that sort of kind of come up for me right now for you to maybe listen to is episode 27, which is creating stability. Episode 28, mindset is everything. Another one, I had a feeling of inadequacy, I think. Where was that one? I wonder if I didn't record it and I just talked about it. That very well may have happened. I'm looking into my past episodes of the listing. Maybe I hadn't recorded that and I need to. So episode 37, how to find your purpose. Episode 38, chasing happiness. And then I really think that will be helpful. And then maybe 36, which is becoming resilient. But think of those and go back and listen to them. But today we're going to talk about being enough and feeling enough, and how that plays into two sides of the same coin, which is control and worthiness. And it's interesting because out of probably a couple hundred women that I've now worked with, either indirectly through offset emails or people who have gone through the Simple Shortcuts to Peace course or my one-on-one coaching clients, these two things are what come up the most often. And the reason I wanted to pop in and record today is they came up for me this morning. And I'm recording this on Memorial Day weekend. It's Sunday, and Adam and I got out of bed around 5:30 this morning, and we had our coffee, and the sun was coming up, and I said, let's go for a walk. So we woke up Sheldon and fed him, and then we walked for about an hour in the morning, and the kids never woke up. They never even texted. They didn't even realize that we left the house. So we did that, and then went to the grocery store and got bacon, and then I decided I was gonna make an egg frittata and some pancakes while Adam was frying up the bacon and all of these things. And I've joked with him before. We've been married for 23 years. And so I've known for a while that my thing is enoughness, of not feeling worthy. And I've known that the kind of script in my head that I've been working on is, it doesn't matter what I do, it's not going to be good enough. And so if you want, you can kind of go back in time and try and decipher why that feeling of inadequacy or feeling of not enoughness or feeling of unworthiness comes from. And it's really just not worth it right now to go in to huge detail with you, but it probably stems from just being a young age and working hard on like a writing project or something at school, but then having a teacher point out that my penmanship wasn't the best. Or I remember my 7th grade math class, I would do a test, but I didn't write my name the way the teacher wanted me to do it. He wanted me in the upper left-hand corner to do last name, comma, first name, and then the period, and the period of the class. And I didn't do that. So even though I worked on the test, I wrote my name, my normal name, first name, last name, and that wasn't good enough. And so he didn't read my test, and so I got a 0 on it. So probably those things helped shape that sort of feeling. And then and just kind of growing up and doing things and having kind of demanding bosses who wanted it this way and this way only. And if it wasn't up to snuff or wasn't good enough, then I'd have to start all over again, and that kind of thing. So I think that is where that feeling has always sort of come from. And even as I achieved great success, wonderful success, I had this kind of script of, well, that and $1 will get you a cup of coffee. So like, it didn't matter if I was on the New York Times bestsellers list, which is a huge and amazing achievement. I belittled it for myself, and sort of shoved it aside, that it didn't really mean anything and it wasn't good enough. And so it's just something that I'm aware of, and I continue to be aware of. And that's what the work is. That's what my work is. The daily mindset work, the daily journaling. I'm stephanieodea.com/daily. I have to do my daily mindset work every day in order to set myself up to continue to do the things that I want to do. Because if you have that sort of thought of, it doesn't matter what I do, it's not going to be good enough, it makes you kind of want to curl up and hide. It makes you want to dig a hole and sort of be in the fetal position and rock back and forth and not take chances and not do things. And so I don't want that to happen for myself. I don't want to hide and not be visible and not be seen and not try and reach out and help as many people as I can, and that I want to. And it literally fulfills me because maybe it's not going to be good enough, or maybe someone somewhere will be critical of me. So that's my thing. My thing is worthiness and enoughness. And Adam's is control. And we've been married 23 years, and we have a fantastic relationship. And so it's fun for me to poke fun at him about this and his issues of needing to be in control and do things this way and this way only, and this is the right way, and this is how you load the dishwasher, and this is how you park the car, and this is how you pack the trunk when we're unloading groceries from Costco. And I wish you could see me rolling my eyes right now. Like I don't even bother to try and unload groceries anymore, because there is his way and he Tetrises them all in, and it's just not even worth it in any way, shape, or form to try and do it anything different. So I don't. So anyway, his is control. So this morning we're making we're making breakfast for the kids who are still asleep, and I'm mixing the pancake batter and I'm doing the things, and I can see him watching me, and I am not necessarily measuring exactly correctly, and I'm just doing what I want to do. And I can see that it's making him anxious while he's watching. And so I called him out on it. I'm like, so here's you having your control thing again. And he's like, you're right. You're right. You're right. It doesn't matter how you make the pancakes. And I said, it doesn't matter. And so while this has served him so well in life and business, because he's an engineer and the building has to be built correctly or it will fall down. Like I get it. There's a reason that he's this way. And also, if you are this type of like super controlling person and you can't let go and you have to do everything yourself, you can't grow because you can't have anyone work for you, or you can't delegate properly because you have to always do things yourself. So about half of the clients that I work with have this control thing, and the other half have this worthiness thing that I have. And so it's fascinating that Adam and I both have this in our own house, and I'm just so aware, and I've been watching this for the past 23 years. So it's just been very helpful, which is why when someone comes to me, I can quickly see, okay, you've either got this control thing or you've got this like I'm not enough thing. And sometimes you might have a tiny bit of both. And that is okay too. You can absolutely have a tiny bit of both. But I want you to really kind of think about this and go back and listen to those episodes that I suggested you listen to and see what rings true to you. Because if you are, for instance, a people pleaser, that can be a sign of not feeling that you're worthy or not feeling that you are enough, because you're getting your validation and feeling of enoughness by making other people happy instead of making yourself happy. And so just really pay attention to that. If you have this sort of like martyr mindset of you have to do everything yourself and nobody can possibly do it, so I might as well just do it myself. And that is probably a control thing. And so just kind of think about that. And both of these things, if you aren't aware and you're not looking in and just paying attention and asking yourself really good questions. And again, this happens when you're slow and you're thoughtful and you're intentional, which is what I would like you to do. When you go slow and you ask yourself these good questions, why aren't I making forward progress towards my personal and professional goals right now? What is holding me back? It's probably one or both of these things. And once you know that, that's the secret sauce. That's when all of a sudden magic happens. And you're like, oh, there it is again. There it is again. So back to this morning. back to this morning. We're doing this. We're poking fun at each other, and then I think, you know what? I've got to run to Trader Joe's. I need to do some stuff, but I'm going to send out a super quick email to my list because on Sundays I send out the Sunday Slowdown email. I've got this summertime bundle pack. Might as well send out an email, tell my list that it's on sale. Maybe we'll make some money. Maybe we won't, but whatever. Not going to know unless I do it, unless I try. So I send out this email. I get thank yous. I did make some sales. I did make some money. But then a woman wrote back to me and told me that it's disrespectful to say Happy Memorial Day because, and this makes perfect sense, and I totally get where she's coming from, completely and totally get it. Memorial Day is for honoring and remembering fallen veterans. I hadn't thought about that, but no kidding, Steph. No, what I want to say is no shit, Sherlock, but don't say bad words. But no kidding that that's what Memorial Day is about. And I forgot. I looked at it as the start of the summer, the start of camping season, the start of being outside, the start of getting your vegetables going, and the kids are coming home from school, and I'm so excited because my kids from college are home. And so I said, Happy Memorial Day. Felt good to me. Happy to send the email, press send it to over 20,000 people. Didn't think twice about it until this woman emailed me back. And she schooled me and told me how I was wrong. And all of those feelings of inadequacy, of unworthiness, of not being good enough bubbled up. And I felt tightness in my chest with anxiety. My blood felt a little cold. I felt stupid. I felt ashamed. And I literally felt unworthy. I felt not good enough. That even though I got emails from people thanking me, and even though I made some money selling a bundle pack for people who needed help, and that should be good enough, that should give me good stars and gold stars and fill my cup. Instead, the overwhelming feeling I had was shame and not being good enough. And it made me have that feeling of wanting to hide and wanting to kind of curl up and go into the fetal position. And instead, I paid attention to those thoughts. And I went out in the backyard and I vented for a few minutes to Adam and I got it out of my system. But you know what? She's right. So she very well could have this kind of control thing where she felt she needed to write back to me and control what I send out on the internet and inform me where my mistake was. And that might, in that situation, have made her feel better about herself and made her feel in control, even though it made me feel bad. It made me feel unworthy. It made me feel not good enough. I don't think that was her intention. I think she's probably a wonderful, lovely, amazing lady who thought she was helping me. But my thing is this. My thing is not enoughness sometimes. Yeah. And so that's why I'm sharing this with you. That's why I'm recording this episode. It happens no matter what. But once you get good at recognizing it, of moving through it, that's where the magic happens. That's when you know your kind of peace pyramid is in place and you can weather all of the storms. And that is what I write and coach and teach and speak about. And that's what this is all about. And while I'm recording this right now, Sheldon has woken up. He was under my desk and he's now whining. And so my new microphone, which might be working, might not be working, might be picking up a basset hound whine. And I can have the thought that this isn't good enough and I'm kind of stupid and why am I wasting my time and nobody's listening to this anyway? Or I can have the thought that hopefully, someone somewhere is hearing my words and this might be helpful in some way. And so that is what gets me out of bed in the morning. And that is what keeps pushing me forward. And that is what makes me want to connect with you and love on you and let you know that you are absolutely not alone. And I think you're amazing and wonderful and lovely. And I hope in some way, oh, Sheldon, this was helpful to you in some way. Consider yourself loved and hugged. And I'll talk to you again next week. Do you have a slow living story to share? Leave me a voicemail at stephanieodea.com/podcast with any questions, comments, feedback, or testimonials, and I will be sure to include it in an upcoming episode. Also, if you found value in this episode, please share it with your family and friends and subscribe through your favorite podcast provider. The more you share, comment, and leave positive reviews, the more people we can reach and share the slow living lifestyle and messaging. Thank you, Slow Down Society, and have an absolutely wonderful day.